Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier on YouTube. Joining me tonight, of course, my partner in crime on these shows, the Premier League previews. Darren, how we doing, Darren?
I'm all good, Niall. I'm all good after tonight, I must say.
Good. This is our Premier League preview, match week 21. Seems to have skipped ahead a lot. There's a lot of teams way behind this. It ain't 21 for all teams, but we're going with the top of the table and where that's at. And with City, it's match week 21. So that's what we're going with. A little bit of housekeeping just before we get into it. If you'd like to contact the show, you'll get us on Gmail, the Upper Tier Podcast. You'll get us on Twitter at the _upper_tier. You'll also get us on Facebook and Instagram, the Upper Tier. And if you want to have a bit of fun out on TikTok, we're out there, the Upper Tier Podcast. Let's get into this. Starts Saturday morning, New Year's Day, 12:30, the lunchtime one. Massive fixture to start. Arsenal versus Man City.
Big game, really big game. You're kind of wondering who's going to have the worst hangover come New Year's Day, aren't you? This is going to be really, really tough for Arsenal, I have to say. I know they've been playing some really, really good stuff lately and been picking up results and stuff like that. But this is just, you're really up against the team that are head and shoulders above the rest of the league, aren't you?
It's probably the test that Arteta needs, though, at this stage, doesn't he? I mean, he's been moseying along quite nice. He's been getting some really good results. But now this is kind of like, if you're going to cement yourself as a top four team, this is the kind of level and the test you want to be tested at, isn't it?
Well, they did a test a few weeks ago at Old Trafford, didn't manage to get through it, So I don't necessarily think he wants these big games, if I'm honest, because anything outside of that top six, they just seem to be rolling teams over. It's when they get up against those bigger teams that, they're falling a little bit short. United aren't a great team at the minute. We know that. And we were still able to do enough to get over Arsenal. And we struggled to get over the likes of Newcastle even recently and Norwich. The Arsenal game, we could have had a lot more than we won 3-2 in the end, but I think the scoreline was a little bit flattering. City have been on a roll, playing some serious football. I know last night, 1-0, kind of, again, it didn't tell a full story. Brentford had a couple of chances, but City really just didn't take their chances, but they still got out with a 1-0 victory and keep the ball rolling and stuff like that. I can't see anything other than a Man City win on New Year's Day, I have to say. I think they'll move the ball around too quickly. I think you'll see a couple of changes from the other night as well. I think you'll probably see Mahrez, maybe Sterling back into it. With Foden, I think Foden will play. Foden tends to play a lot of the bigger games. I think maybe you might see Mahrez, Foden and Sterling as a front three with De Bruyne, Gundogan and Rodri in midfield. And that's just phenomenal, the way they move the ball around and stuff like that, the pace. I just think it's going to be too much for Arsenal, that kind of backline that Arsenal have. I know it's improved lately, but still a little rocky, isn't it?
Would you take some heart in looking at the second half of the Leicester game against them, where Leicester got right back into it and exposed them a little bit and scored a few goals? Now, I know they still ran out 6-3 winners, but if you could keep a tight first half, would Arsenal, Arsenal would have equally as decent firepower, wouldn't they, as Leicester?
I don't think so.
No?
No, not for me. Well, like if I look at the Arsenal side at the minute, okay, would Vardy get into the Arsenal side? Yeah, he would. Would Patson Daka? Yeah, he would. Would Iheanacho? Yeah, he would. Would Madison? Yeah, he would. Do you know? So I don't really...
I'm talking just more on current form at the moment. You've got Smith Rowe, who's in great form. Saka's scoring goals again.
Yeah, but again, it's against those lower teams in the table. Do you know what I mean? They're not doing it against City. They're not doing it against Spurs, United, stuff like that. I'd want to see a little more from them in the bigger games. We thought it was going to be a big game against Liverpool a couple of weeks ago. Liverpool rolled them over and tickled them as well, didn't they? So they have an awful lot of failings in these big games. And that's where I see the big problem for Mikel Arteta. I just don't think they're solid enough at the back. And I think they're scoring goals going forward, but they're scoring goals against lesser teams. I think against City, who are good at the back, they'll struggle to break them down, if I'm honest.
What are you going for in this one?
I'm going to go for 3-1 City.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3-2. I think it'll be slightly tighter. But I think City will run out winners. I think they look this year like they have a grasp on things in terms of they know how to see games out as well, even when they're not playing at their best. But I think City 3-2. But I think Arsenal will give them a good goal. I think there's goals there for Arsenal. I know City at times have been sublime at the back and stuff like that, but in recent times they've been giving up goals. So I just think that
I've a feeling we're gonna. I've a feeling we're gonna look at this game in the mashup, and we're gonna say, how let down we were by what Arsenal done in this game. I'm giving Arsenal a goal, but kind of giving it more out of sympathy than anything. Because I don't really see it. I don't see them troubling City at all. I don't think they laid a glove on Liverpool. Did you beat them 3-0?
No,
I think he's beat them.
No, it ended up being, it was a 4-1 or 4-0 or something.
4-1 maybe.
4-0, I think it was.
Yeah, but they didn't lay a glove on you. They were toothless in the attack. I think that's where they're going to struggle again, to be honest with you.
Am I right in thinking at that stage, though, Aubameyang was still in the picture, wasn't he?
He was, but although taking him out, you've got an extra man in there and you've got somebody that's putting work right in there. You don't necessarily have those sharp shooting skills as you would if the chance fell to him and stuff like that. Lacazette, for all his endeavour, he's poor, isn't he? And you've got Eddie and Nketiah maybe coming off the bench. It doesn't cut the mustard for Arsenal. Arsenal need a striker to take them to the next level. If Arsenal want to secure top 4 football this year, they need to go out and buy a striker in January.
Yeah, be interesting to see. Anyway, you mentioned Leicester and Norwich is postponed. Norwich requested with a COVID outbreak. Yeah. So we wish them all well there in their recovery. Watford versus Tottenham.
Yeah, Watford versus Tottenham is it's going to be a tough game for Spurs. I know West Ham went there last weekend and they rolled Watford over pretty easy, didn't they? But I don't think it'll be as easy this weekend for Spurs. I know obviously you've got Harry Kane's coming back to form now. He's got trained his last 3, hasn't he? And Son is involved as well, and they're chopping and changing between Lucas Moura and Dele Alli and stuff like that. And Spurs look a much better team under Antonio Conte, much tighter at the back and stuff like that. They won't be happy with the result last weekend. I think Spurs will do this, if I'm honest. I don't think it's going to be very easy. And I think Watford will get on the score sheet. This is the last game we'll see from our AFCON friends, if I'm right. And I'd expect the boy Emmanuel Dennis to probably try and get a goal before he heads away on duty, So I'm going to say 2-1 to Spurs.
When we looked at the AFCON, we said, was it Watford that had like 3, 4, 5 players involved or something like that, wasn't it?
Watford had big numbers, all right, didn't they?
I just wonder how difficult it would be for Spurs if you've that many players and if some of them are playing. I wonder, will they have one eye on the AFCON and are they going to tread lightly, like, you know what I mean? Because they don't want to get injured at this stage.
Absolutely. But maybe they go, you know what? We've got to leave something here.
Give it a go.
Because last week wasn't a great day at the office for Watford. So are they thinking we need to leave something here that if guys come in January, and I listened to an interview earlier with Craig Cathcart at Watford, and he was saying that, he's interested to see who they can bring in January. So it looks like even the players are aware that they're trying to bring bodies in.
Yeah.
So, your space and the team might be gone in 4 weeks' time when you get back. So you've got to leave them with something to remember you, boy. That's what I'd be thinking if I was any of the lads heading off.
Yeah. Plus the fact they may have a few players that may come back early enough. They may be playing for teams that are kind of outside that top tier in the AFCON, if you like. So
absolutely. Yeah.
What are you going for here? I'm thinking 3-1.
I'm going 2-1 Spurs.
2-1. I'm thinking 3-1.
Okay.
The evening kickoff rounds out then live on Sky Sports. Crystal Palace versus West Ham. Another absolute belter of a game, I think.
That'd be a good game of football. That'd be a very, very good game of football, I have to say. I think obviously Palace had a great win last weekend. They were without their 2 kind of talisman in Wilfred Zaha and Conor Gallagher, but they still managed to put Norwich to the sword 3-0. Oddison Edouard getting on the score sheet, a couple of assists as well. The boy Mateta, he got a goal as well. So big win for Palace, and it's a great win for West Ham. 4-1 away from home. Jared Bowen looking really, really good, creating an awful lot and stuff like that. I think this will be a good game, I have to say. I don't necessarily fancy a winner in this. I think maybe this could be the score draw of the weekend. Maybe a 2-2, something like that.
That was my thinking exactly.
Yeah, I think a 2-2, Yeah, if I was kind of leaning towards someone, I would lean towards West Ham, but I think Palace will make it really tough and they'll be very dogged and stuff like that. And I think they'll get something in this.
Good stuff. Move on to Sunday. kicking off early, 2 o'clock on Sky Sports. Brentford versus Aston Villa.
Yeah, this is a big game for both teams, I think, isn't it? You know, after Villa obviously just off the back of that defeat to Chelsea in midweek, didn't look at their best. I know, you know, took a couple of late goals and stuff like that from Lukaku. Oh, sorry, it was the weekend from Lukaku and stuff like that to get them back into it. But I don't think they looked as good as they have in previous weeks. It's their third defeat under Gerrard, but again, it's their third defeat to a big team. They've lost now to Liverpool, City, and to Chelsea. I think these are the games Villa are going to target and think if we can keep picking up points here, we can put ourselves in a reasonable position to finish the season. 6, 7, 8, somewhere like that, and go and try and build on that next year with Stevie being there for the year and maybe with a couple of additions in the summer and stuff like that. Brentford, obviously, they were dogged and resilient against City, but I think they're lacking a little bit of quality at the minute, aren't they? They're missing a couple of players. Another boy, Brian Mbeumo, didn't play the other night. He had a toe injury. And I think, you know, the squad is looking a little bit bare for me at the minute. With COVID and with injuries and stuff like that. I think they could do with a couple of new additions in January just to help get them over the line, that last little push. That last little one, you know, just so they don't get dragged in. Now, we know it's not a nice place to go. Teams won't want to go there. But you just want to make sure you have enough quality to get you over the line, you know?
Yeah, they're lacking that little bit of... they had a little bit of swagger and a little bit of confidence, didn't they, earlier in the season as well? And they're lacking that. Even they were confident in picking up draws and stuff like that. Now they're lacking that as well. You can see by Thomas Frank as well. You can see his own expression and his body language. He knows he's close, but he's under pressure to just kick it up a notch to cement at home, you know.
And I think they'll be a bit, you know, they'll be a bit put out by the form of Ivan Toney so far. He got off to a reasonable start early on in the season. Couple of goals, couple of assists, was involved in a lot. Last few weeks he's been poor in front of goal. You know, they've created a few chances. They haven't had lots, but what they have created, he's failed to take as well. And you know, when he's your main man and he's not taking the chances, you're in trouble. You know, you really are.
I think he picked up a couple of knocks as well, didn't he? And he also was out with COVID.
He did, so and he missed.
He did.
He is coming back, but I think he needs goals to just give him that confidence and get him back, you know?
Yeah, it's like what you spoke last week about Kane. He just needs to ping one, doesn't he? And then he'll get going.
It literally needs to go in off his arse cheek just to get that one and let the monkey get off your back. And then all of a sudden, you feel like the ball is rolling, you know? Yeah,
I also found with Villa as well, when they took the lead against Chelsea, they it was like as if they getting to that one goal kind of sapped them of their energy a little bit. And I think they were missing that engine in there, that John McGinn engine. I think if he's back at the weekend, I'm not too sure whether he is or not, or whether he's isolating or whatever it was, injury or whatever. But definitely they miss him. He brings a certain kind of swagger and energy in there in that Villa side, doesn't he?
He's a good steely sort of player in that midfield, isn't he? He's involved in everything, you know what I mean? He's passing, he's moving, he's throwing tackles in. I love him, I have to say. I think he's a super footballer. I think outside of that kind of top six, he's one of the best players in the league for me, if I'm honest. He's not necessarily a very, very flashy player, but he's, you know, I think he would be unbelievable at Arsenal. Unbelievable. Because I think he's that kind of player Arsenal needs.
His work rate
his determination, his aggression, and the way he likes to drive with the ball. He likes to arrive late then as well at other stages. I think he's very, very good. I think he's very underrated. And I think if he keeps playing the way he is, he won't be at Villa for too much longer.
Yeah. What are you calling on this one? Villa win?
Yeah, I'm going to call it a Villa win. I think I'll say 2-1 Villa.
Yeah, 2-1.
Dogged, determined. I think it'll probably be 1-1 late on and Villa will just nick it.
Yeah. Up next, 2 o'clock, Everton versus Brighton. Our boy back to win, back with a great result the other night, another late one.
Yeah, listen, that's 4 big points for them, isn't it? Since they've been back from their COVID outbreak and stuff like that. They've got their win against Brentford and they got a great draw away at Chelsea. To be honest, the draw against Chelsea didn't flatter them. You know, they really should have got 3 points from Stamford Bridge. They were the better team by a country mile.
Yeah, they were in control, weren't they, for large parts of the game?
They were. They created an awful lot of chances and unfortunately, they look very similar to they did last season, which is creating an awful lot of chances, but just failing to take them. Like, again, you've got to mention Potter and you've got to say what a fabulous job he's doing with them.
Mm.
Okay, their league position is fine. It's not, it's not lofty,
Yeah.
but the brand of football that they play, the way they play football, like he's a really, really top manager at the minute. With Brighton, he has them playing some serious football. They battered Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and like really did. I think they'll do something similar to Everton, to be honest with you. But again, I think the problem's going to be putting the ball in the net. They don't fill me with confidence in front of goal. I think lads are snatching at stuff, and when they miss, they're looking at each other going, shit, we've missed another one. And, they're getting very petulant and they're quick and stuff like that. They don't look like, when I see City play and I see City knock the ball around, I think there's an air of arrogance about them, and there's like you said earlier, a swagger, and they're kind of looking, going, we can put this in whenever we really, really want it. And if the other guys kind of bite a little bit too hard at their ankles, we just ping another one in to sit them down a bit. Whereas I don't feel like Brighton feel they can do that when they want to, So I think they're still kind of clutching at things, but I think they'll get over the line against Everton. And I'm gonna say this will be 2-1 to Brighton.
2-1 Brighton, yeah. I'm thinking more or less the same. Yeah, I think Basuma back in there as well as a huge asset. That kind of box to box that he plays there is incredible. Like, and he, again, similar to what we spoke about with McGinn, he brings a serious energy to the team and stuff like that.
Is this his last game before the AFCON?
I presume so. Yeah, it's the same for all of them, isn't it?
Yeah. So he might want to leave with 3 points up his sleeve. So when he comes back, everyone goes, "Oh shit, here's the guy that."
And a player who wouldn't be in fear of losing his place.
I don't think. I think the only fear of him, I think the only fear he has of losing his place is when he goes to a different side.
Yeah.
Because I don't see him at Brighton after the summer. I think they did really, really well to hang on to him last summer. I don't see them getting through the summer with him still in the books, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I wonder will Potter in the window go out and try and look for an L goal scorer himself?
Yeah, I heard them talk about it last night, and they actually spoke to Murray, Glenn Murray. He was on the Sky Sports panel. He was at Brighton, and they were saying, if he had a goal scorer, they'd be flying. They'd be in the upper half of the league. They'd be up near that 5th, 6th, 7th spots again.
Get Murray to throw his boots back on. He was quite a finisher.
He was. But, Murray kind of said, listen, he said he felt like Maupay could be the guy to get those goals. He said he's a terrific footballer and stuff like that. But you're right. I mean, who could they go and throw money at, though? Like, if you look at it, that'll guarantee you goals. It's tough to say, isn't it? Could they go maybe and look at our friend Ben Brereton Diaz at Blackburn there? He's
that's what I was thinking. Maybe go have a look in the Championship and pick up someone.
Brereton Diaz is the 2nd top goal scorer in the league, and he's also out of contract this summer. So if you're talking about January, I mean, what's it going to cost you to get him out of Blackburn in January? 6-7 million. If he gets you 6-7 goals before the end of the season, they could be big goals. If
he throws you 4 or 5 places in the league, so you get your money back after.
And he is in the form of his life at the minute, scoring goals in the Championship. I think he's got 19 this season, and scored in his last 3 starts for Chile as well.
And only going to get better under Potter.
Absolutely, I don't think there's a player in world football that won't get better under Potter, because he's that good, honestly.
Absolutely. 2:00. Leeds versus Burnley.
Yeah, I don't know if this will be one to set the timer for, if I'm honest.
This is relegation 101, isn't it?
Yeah, this is going to be a slog, isn't it? I think it'll help Leeds, obviously, that it's at Ellen Road. Pitch is slightly better than Turf Moor. Leeds will have the fans behind them and stuff like that. You'd have to think Leeds will get out of this with something.
It's a 6-pointer for Dyche, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And if you look at the boy, Chris Wood is going back to Leeds. He was with Leeds as well. We always talk about guys going back to their stomping grounds and finding a bit of form or finding a goal from somewhere. Burnley weren't bad tonight against United, but you could just see the gulf in talent. What United had to call on and what Burnley had to call on and stuff like that. I think Burnley are going to find this difficult. I know it's a game they'll relish because it's a game they'll be able to really get stuck into. I'd say there'll be tackles flying in. This won't be one for the faint-hearted, but I think from a footballing point of view, it could be poor, if I'm honest. Any little bit of any glimmer of hope I have for quality football is our boy. You know, he's been Leeds' best player again this year, hasn't he? I think he's the top goal scorer for Leeds at the minute. In the absence of Patrick Bamford, I would say he's going to have a big part to play in this game, and I'm going to go 3-1 Leeds, and I'm going to go our boy Rafinha to get at least one as well.
I'm going to go score draw 1-0.
Okay.
I just don't know whether. I don't know. I'm looking at a kind of a lack of desire between both of them at the moment, and I think one's going to fall into relegation and one's going to fall out of it, and it's that way. And I just see, I'm looking at Burnley tonight against United, and I just think, yeah, they created a little bit and stuff like that, but is there a desire on a purpose there to really make it happen? I don't see it. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't see it. And they're down there now, they're in trouble, and I know they've a few games in hand and stuff like that. But we've seen this season with games in hands, they mean nothing. You need points on the board.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw and not one to watch. The other 2:00 Southampton versus Newcastle. Our boy Ralph, the governor.
Looking forward to that, actually.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. I'm looking forward to that. Like, I don't think you'd look at, you know, two teams where they are in the league and you go, this could be a good game, but this could be a good game, you know. And it'll be interesting to see if Callum Wilson makes it for the weekend. Obviously, come off against us the other night. I think they said it wasn't as bad as force feared and stuff like that. It was a pull rather than anything else. But there's going to be some quality on show. You know, we know the boy Livermento's having a great season at Southampton. The boy Broja has looked decent at times. And our man James Ward-Prowse has been, you know, he's been the Matt Letizia of the
and looks back
of our area, you know.
Looks back at it as well.
Yeah, he just looks a bit rejuvenated again, doesn't he? You know, he's back scoring penalties, free kicks, and he's involved in everything that's good about him and stuff like that.
I looked at him actually last season before we came on, and I was thinking, when he's back in the mode, he goes on a run of about 6 or 7 games where he's in the mode, and then he might drift off for 4 games, and then he comes back in. So at the moment, he's kind of in the middle of that mode.
Yeah, great footballer, really is. Like for a lad like that to be involved in the England squad in that kind of a team at Southampton, it says an awful lot about him, if I'm honest. Really, really does. Yeah, I think there could be goals in this, if I'm honest. I think we could be seeing 3, 4, 5 goals really, really easy. I think it'll be free flowing. I think it'll be end to end. I think taking chances will be the most difficult, but I do think there'll be an awful lot created. I'm gonna go score draw here. I'm gonna go 2-2. Newcastle to get a couple, but Southampton to get a couple as well. But a really, really good game of football. With lots of chances, end to end, you know, action packed. I'm looking forward to it, I must say. Yeah.
I'm gonna go 3-2 Southampton. I'm all in on the governor this year. I'm supporting the governor this year. He's my number 2 or number 3 or whatever it is. And I think our boy Ward-Prowse might get the winner from a free kick.
Right.
So that's what I'm kind of thinking on that at the moment. We round out then the Sunday, the 4:30, the Super Sunday, the Battle of the Bridge, Chelsea versus Liverpool, live on Sky Sports.
It's going to be a big game for both teams, won't it? You know, after the other night, obviously Liverpool slipping up, Chelsea dropping points as well. Chelsea probably not looking as good as Liverpool did, you know, even though Liverpool didn't manage to get anything out of the game against Leicester. I think they probably looked slightly better than Chelsea did. Chelsea were absolutely battered by Brighton. They really, really were. I think going into this game, I think Liverpool will be really dangerous on Sunday, because I don't think they'll have enjoyed, you know, the defeat against Leicester. I know nobody ever enjoys defeat, but I think the manner in it came and stuff like that, and Salah missing the penalty. Obviously now himself and Sadio Mane are heading off to the AFCON after the game against Chelsea. He'll be going back to the Bridge. You know, he's an ex-Chelsea player. I just see it absolutely set up for him to have a super game on Sunday. I'm going to have to try and wrangle him back into my fantasy football team. I took him out because they'd no game last weekend. So I need to try and get him back in so I can avail of some of them points, because I think Sunday we could see the absolute best of Salah. We know Chilwell is out. We know Marcus Alonso isn't a super defender. We know Reece James, who played on that side the other night, is possibly out as well. He came off injured in the game during the week. So, Chelsea in those wing positions and those back positions, the right back and the left back positions, or the wing backs, they're starting to run short on bodies. And I think, I wouldn't be surprised to see him do something mental like play Hudson-Odoi as a wing back. I don't think it's a good idea. I really, really don't. I think when you're going in against Liverpool, he'd be better off, trying to keep things a bit narrow and not being as offensive. Maybe playing, Lukaku was the target man and get a couple of boys around him and stuff like that, rather than playing with a lot of width and creating a lot of width when Salah's about and you don't have maybe guys that defend very, very well going that direction, I think this has Liverpool written all over it. I think it'll be comfortable enough, as comfortable as it gets for teams at the Bridge. And I'm going to say this is Liverpool 3-1.
Yeah, I was thinking either 3-1 or 3-2. I think goals will give up all right. In terms of Liverpool, I'm thinking of the AFCON send-off. I'm thinking of Salah, Mane and Keita with the goals. And if I can get that, I'll be very happy. Yeah, I think they'll all want to lay down a marker, because I know with Keita as well, he's going off as well, and his place isn't always guaranteed when Thiago's around.
I was going to say, I don't think Keita will play. Really? I don't think so.
Interesting.
I think OxladeChamberlain is, I know Klopp has spoken about him recently. I think he's doing a really good job for you in there. I think Henderson is nailed on with him. And I think Fabinho. I don't think he'll play Keita.
I think
you might see him off the bench.
I think he'll go with Keita, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Keita offers you that little bit of trickery and that bit of movement that you need sometimes to unlock Chelsea. Where I think with Ox, you look at Ox and you kind of know what he's going to do. He's very predictable in what he does. And I think we'll have learned from the match on Anfield, especially in the second half, where they were down to 10 men and trying to break them down and stuff like that. It was very one-dimensional for us. And if you remember back that day, we didn't change it up in time. We changed it up very late and it didn't deliver the goods. So I think the trickery of Keita in there and his eye for a pass and stuff like that, I think Keita will start over Ox. I really do.
Be interesting to see. I don't think he's creative at all, I have to say.
I think he's more creative than Ox. I think Ox tends to go on these dribbly runs, but I think his final situation of those runs, he reminds me of Adama Traore. In terms of he'll make the
well, I don't think his final ball is that good. I don't think he carries it as well as Adama. But I know what you're getting at. Like he is a winger, so to speak, and he's playing a little more centrally now. So he does like to go on amazing and stuff like that. But I think creatively, he's got a little more than Keita, if I'm honest. Like, he has an eye for a pass. They might not always come off, but you can see what he's trying to do. Whereas with Keita, I just think it's very simple. He keeps it very simple, knocks it about. He's not trying to tread balls through. He's not, trying to go past 3 or 4 players. I've got to say, I've been very, very disappointed with him since he's come in at Liverpool.
He was on a very good run there for a while until he got injured, if you remember. He played in a number of really good games where he was linking up really good in those triangles out on that wing and stuff like that. And you remember I think he scored a really good goal where he dropped the shoulder and went by a guy as well in one of the games as well. I think it's tricky. I think we still have to see the best of him. But I think in terms of Chelsea, I think if you tend to go on those dribbly runs, they're very powerful and they'll tend to break you down because you won't beat as many of their players the way you think you would with other teams. And I think with Keita, I think that simple little pass and move and stuff like that, especially with Jota in there, it's vital for him as well because he's a pest at that front line. So he loves those little tricky balls into him and stuff like that. I think that's where Keita could unlock them a little bit.
I also wouldn't be surprised to see Bobby start on Sunday. I think Bobby could start flanked by Salah and Jota. I think Mane's been extremely poor recently. And I think, obviously he brought Bobby on the other night to try and add that other dimension. Because I think when you have the 3 lads on the pitch, they're all very, very similar to each other, aren't they? Yeah. Whereas I think you're missing that little piece of the puzzle, which is the link-up play, which is what Firmino does so well for Liverpool. I'm a big fan of Firmino's, I have to say. A really, really big fan of his. And I would like to see, if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd like to see Salah, Jota and Firmino on the pitch on Sunday.
No, I think he'll send Mane. I think he'll send Mane off for the place in the AFCON. I think he'll play him. Bobby's only coming back off an injury as well, if you remember. And remember, we're going to be heavily reliant on him through the whole of January. I think he'll start with Jota because he's such a pest. I think he'll stick with Mane and Salah. And to be honest with you, as much of a fan as I am of Bobby Firmino, I mean, he came on the other night, he didn't influence the game one bit. Came on and he literally offered nothing. And I know he's only back off injury and stuff like that, and that's fine. But I actually think, I'm beginning to think that position is now Jota's and Firmino is the bench guy. I'm starting to think that way.
See, I'd still like to see Jota coming from the left-hand side. I think if you're talking about that position being, being gone for Firmino, then it's time for Liverpool to dip into the market again. And they need, an out target man and a guy that's going to hold the ball up and get the likes of Jota and Salah in.
Well, I think that could be the case because, we've been linked with Rafinha, we've been linked with Jared Bowen, we've been linked with, there's lots of talk of Haaland and stuff like that, but I know that's the Mbappe pipe dream stuff and all that kind of thing. But we're starting to be linked with a number of front guys and attacking guys. And I think Klopp is actually looking at that. But I honestly think now, if I'm sitting back and picking the team, and I love Bobby Firmino, there's no doubt about it. But I'll have Jota in there before him all day. I know Mane's on a terrible run at the moment.
It's Mane who I wouldn't have in. I would have Jota in with Salah and with Firmino. I think Mane this season has been very, very poor. He's gone through patches of just chance after chance after chance where he's the chance he has the other night. It's a sitter. He's one-on-one with Schmeichel. He's got the whole goal gaping. Yeah. And he blazes it over the crossbar. He's really kind of soured himself recently with Klopp and with the Liverpool fans.
Yeah, I think with I just think with Jota, I think when we put him out on the left, I think he's less effective than when he's up through the middle. That's all I have found.
And do you think that's because maybe Mane plays down the middle then, or because? I think Mane does. No, I think if you're very well.
Yeah, no, I think if you're going with Jota on the left and Bobby in the middle and Salah, they've tried it before. And I think on those games, if I remember rightly, Jota has been very ineffective in those games. I think when he switched Jota into the Firmino role, he's way more comfortable through the middle as well, creates more havoc. He's more of a pest. And I think in fairness, actually, I think he's picked up more goals and playing through the centre than he has been out on the left.
It would have been the position where you signed him from, though. I mean, when he played for Wolves, he played from the left-hand side. That's where he, that was where his heat map was, let's say. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, to have to be honest with you. There's my call. I'm going to go Firmino, Salah and Jota, and in the midfield, I'm going to go Fabinho to anchor with Henderson and Chamberlain either. So
be interesting. See how we get it right. Yeah. We did our scores on it, didn't we? Of course we did.
We absolutely did.
Monday, 5:30 game on Monday the 3rd. United versus Wolves. This is going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, this is a big game again. Wolves haven't managed to play too many games lately with COVID. They're a little bit behind and stuff like that. United obviously, we've picked up 10 out of the 12 points that Ralph has played for. But we beat Palace and we beat Burnley at home, and then we got a scrappy 1-0 away, and we got a 1-1 away at Newcastle. We haven't been great yet, but the only good thing I can say is we're starting to pick up results. It's a nice run of fixtures we have. It's a nice run of fixtures. It's a run of fixtures where you should be looking at winning. I think he should have been, when he looked at it, and you've seen the 4 games we played, maybe Wolves, West Ham, stuff like that down the pipeline, you'd have to be thinking 6-7 games unbeaten anyway, wouldn't you? Even on your bad days, you got to be picking up draws against these teams. If you want to be involved in that top 4 shake-up, I don't think we've hit our stride yet under him. I think tonight was a little bit better. I don't necessarily think we pressed very well tonight, which was how we were going to play under him. We were going to press him and press and press. We didn't press a lot tonight.
Didn't press at all.
Yeah, so maybe there's been a change there. Maybe he's looked at it and gone, do you know what? this only works with certain players and in certain positions and stuff like that. And we didn't see much of the press at all tonight. So I don't know.
He did his homework, because if you press Burnley, they just put up 2 banks of 4 and they're impossible to break down. So what he did tonight was he played like a little bit of a European style, and he let Burnley have a bit of the ball and come out and play a little bit to fill them into it. And if anything, you were playing that nice little counter and stuff like that. But your build-up play was nice without it being exasperating in terms of Burnley going, right, these are coming at us 2 banks of 4. You were very clever in your play tonight.
And I think also he's asked them to be a little more direct when they have the ball in that final third of the pitch. Go, boy, get the ball in, or get inside, get your shot off. Don't labour too much. Don't check in, don't check out, because that's something, at times, if we look at from a fullback point of view, we're going to say Liverpool are kind of setting the benchmark from the fullbacks, from the attacking fullbacks point of view. The ball comes back and they get the ball in first time. There's not a touch. There's not a look up. And I find United are too slow at a lot of the time. And the ball is coming back and they're taking a touch and then they're playing it inside and they're getting it back out. And it's all very processed. Like, guys aren't kind of playing the pass the way they know they should play the pass. They're overthinking it. And because obviously there's a lack of confidence there and stuff like that, but tonight was a little bit better. So, with Wolves at home, we managed to beat Wolves in Molineux, albeit Greenwood got a goal and kind of Jose Sa coughing up a little bit for us. Because I think he'd be annoyed he let that one in. But
Wolves missed a few that night as well, though, didn't they? They'd know.
They did.
Finisher.
It was a Sunday afternoon, wasn't it? And we had David De Gea in fine form again, as he has been for most of the season. I think at home we'll have enough for them. Again. He brought Varane on after about 65 minutes tonight. I'd expect Varane to start against Wolves. I know he looked a little bit lacklustre against Newcastle. He's got another half an hour under his belt. I think he'll start with Varane. I think we'll probably still be troubled, but I expect us to beat Wolves, and I'm gonna say we're gonna get a clean sheet. I'm gonna say 2-0 to United.
I'm thinking this one's going to be a score draw. I think Wolves are going to put it up to you. And the only reason I'm thinking that is I think Wolves are kind of dogged in the way that they play. And I find when you've come up against teams like that, I think it's been a little bit troubling. Now, I could be wrong. I think United at home, the onus is on them. They can't afford to drop any more points. If they're realistic about this top 4 situation and getting into that hunt for that, I think they can't afford to drop any more points in the position that they're in. But I think Wolves again, I just find with them, they're tough to play against, you know what I mean? And they bring a kind of a war with them when they show up. So I'm thinking a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
So that's it.
You're going in on us again, is what you're saying after last night.
Listen, I keep on saying to you, I David De Gea in my team. I didn't have Alisson or Edison. I David De Gea in goals.
You didn't have Alisson because he's coughed 3 or 4 up this season.
He's still one of the top keepers in the league.
Listen, there's no doubt about it, but on current form, if you're choosing, you're taking David De Gea.
You ask any Liverpool man to do a combined 11 and show me one that puts Alisson out before De Gea.
You show me a guy that does it with his head rather than his heart.
Yeah, well, that's true.
No, I even gave you the 3-1 on Sunday against Chelsea. That's all right. Don't worry. I'll hold that one in my nose for you.
You'll get me back on Monday anyway. There's no.
I will. You bet I will. When we trample all over Wolves, I get you back on Monday.
Sometimes I pick these things just in sheer hope. You know what I mean?
I don't know whether you're picking them in hope or just to rile me up. I'm going
to preface this by anyone who's watching this. Make sure you watch our Beat the Bookie episode because I have some absolutely belters in there. That's still not going to make you much happier. Well, listen, pleasure doing the Premier League preview match week 21. As always, head over to YouTube and smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Remember, we're on our new channel, so we need you in there to grow us. Grow. 2022 is going to be our year. We're going to knock it out of the park.
Smash that subscribe button. Smash it. Or they're sending the Dazzler after you.
That's it. Till next time, my friend, a pleasure.
Thanks, buddy.